Hello everyone. Hope you all are enjoying this course. This course will continue for 6 months
Today we are
and I
going to
hope you
discuss
will
about
enjoy this course.
a technique of meditation which is known as Kayotsarg in Praksha meditation system. And meaning of Kayotsarg is relaxation with self-awareness. Why we need relaxation? Let us understand the importance of this meditation from scientific point of view. We know that there are so many stresses in our life. How we can cope up with these stresses? How we can come out of the problems and health issues which are being generated by various types of stresses of our life. So for that we should understand first modus operandi of a stress. It means how stress affects, how it is created, and how we can come out of it. Learning stress management is one of the most important lessons for remaining healthy. Relaxation is practiced to counteract the ill effects of stress. To understand the meaning of relaxation, we must first know what stress is. The word stress comes to us from physics, where it means pressure exerted upon parts of a body. When stress results in deformation of the body, it is known as strain. Thus, in our case, stress and strain would mean deformation of our comforts. It can display itself as a tightness and anxiety or an irrational fear. Under stress, we feel irritable, getting easily upset or angry. As stress increases, we may begin to feel that we simply can't cope anymore. Any condition that needs behavioral adjustment is a stressful condition. Dr. Hans Selle, an international authority on stress, defines stress as the rate of wear and tear of the body. He shows that cold, heat, rage, drug, excitement, pain, grief, even joy all elicit the stress mechanism in the same way. If the stress is physical, such as excessive cold, the skin density changes, the blood vessels at the surface contract, and breathing changes. Whenever one encounters a psychologically stressful situation, an elaborate innate mechanism is automatically put into action. This mechanism involves very important parts of our body or some glands of our body. For example, hypothalamus. It is a remarkable portion of our brain which integrates all functions of the body which are not normally controlled by the conscious mind. It involves pituitary gland, which is called master of the endocrine system because it regulates the other glands. It also involves adrenal gland, which secretes adrenaline and other hormones to keep the body tense and alert. And lastly, it involves sympathetic component of the autonomic nervous system, which is responsible to ultimately prepare the body for fight or flight. The physiological conditions which come out of these integrated action of these four components of our body, they are like blood supply to the digestive system is curtailed, digestion slows down or is halted. Second, the salivary glands dry up. Third one is respiration rate increases, breathing becomes faster or gasping. Fourth is the liver releases some of the store of blood sugar and it is carried to the muscles of the arms and legs. The heart beats faster to pump more blood where it is most needed, and blood pressure rises. So we have seen that how stress creates many different physical health issues. All these and many other complex changes occur to generate extra quantities of electrochemical and hormonal energy, which enables us to act quickly. The energy goes to the muscles even when there is nothing that needs to be done, and gets bound up in the muscles as tension. When the emergency conditions have subsided, we have what is needed to bring us back to a balanced, tensionless state. It is the concern of the other component of the autonomic nervous system, the parasympathetic nervous system, to resume normal activity and to restore peaceful conditions. The parasympathetic nervous system is designed to work in close harmony with and balance the sympathetic nervous system. The activating of the parasympathetic is meant to happen naturally after the emergency is over. Its response balances the sympathetic by returning the chemistry to normal and relaxing the tense muscles. The sympathetic is action-oriented and aggressive. The parasympathetic is restoring and passive. When both function normally, there is a seesaw action which reflects in our body as rhythmic cycles of action and rest. When the equilibrium breaks down, we have dangerous tension, since the modern lifestyles keep us always on the go. The restoring apparatus, the parasympathetic, seldom gets a chance to operate fully. That is, our muscles and nerves hardly ever return to its natural condition. There are so many disorders which are created by tension, and for that, we should learn that all animals, including human beings, possess this innate mechanism, and its response, which prepares one for fight or flight, is involuntary. When stressful situation regularly recurs, the stress mechanism is repeatedly activated. If the physiological conditions described in our starting discussion persist over a long time or frequently recur, serious disorder would occur. Thus, if blood pressure remains high and blood vessels constricted, it will result in heart attacks or strokes. If the impoverished blood supply to stomach is prolonged, there will be digestive disorders. If the breathing is prolonged at a high rate, it may result in asthma, etc. Sustained muscle tensions will bring aches and pains in the head, back, neck, and shoulders. Besides, these chronic tension may also bring feelings of panic, which is irrational fear, and which can be not only frightening but also crippling. Tense, nervous, and anxious modern man is driven inexorably into stress because his constant state of anxiety prevents him from coping up with the relentless demands of modern life. There is plenty of evidence now to show that tension may play a significant part in promoting or triggering of a great many illnesses. If we are to solve successfully the problem of stress, we have to find a way of allowing the parasympathetic to function efficiently, so that it can establish the equilibrium and harmony which has been destroyed. Now we would see that what are the causes of tension or stress or strain. So, from our discussion, one must not conclude that tension is entirely evil. A certain amount of tension is essential for achievement. It is the continuity and the high degree of tension that causes the trouble, impairs performance, and leads to exhaustion and illness. Amongst the causes of sustained and inappropriate high level of tension are sudden changes in one's lifestyle. Doctors Holmes and Arahe have quantified a number of lifestyle changes such as the death of a spouse. Some of the changes and scores are listed here. You can see that death of spouse 100, divorce 73, injury or illness 53, marriage 50, dismissal from work 47, retirement 45, sexual problem 39, change in work 29, change in living conditions 25, change in eating or sleeping habits 16. This list is not complete, and all points listed are not relevant to everyone. If the score was over 300, there was likely to be serious illness, while a score of over 100 indicates that remedial measures should be taken. Obviously, one change at a time would be easier to cope with. However, life is not so simple, and if one has to meet several changes simultaneously, adjustment of reaction by remedial measures such as exercise and relaxation is necessary. We know that cure is not just in outside medical therapies, but it is more into inherent is more inherent, and how we can use that inherent power of healing or cure. Modern lifestyles are most unlikely to change for the better. Sure, we have developed pharmaceutical wonder drugs in the form of tranquilizers which give a temporary relief. In the long term, however, the medicine itself creates more serious problems than the original disease. The question is, are we then destined to be doomed by our environmental conditions, or are we capable of adapting ourselves so as to avoid at least the more injurious effects of the daily stress? Fortunately, we possess and can activate the innate mechanism which produces physiological conditions which are diametrically opposite to the fight or flight response. Nobel laureate Swiss physiologist Dr. Walter described this response as a protective mechanism against overstress, promoting restorative processes, and called it a trophotropic response. Dr. Herbert Benson, MD, has termed this reaction as a relaxation response. It is possible to train ourselves to activize by autosuggestion the protective mechanism and to influence our reaction to stress. The increased secretion and output of adrenaline can be normalized, and the sympathetic dominance counterbalanced by increased parasympathetic activity. Then the muscles relax and the abdominal wall loses its tightness. Regular practice of total relaxation is a potent remedy for the dangerous disease of the modern time. Now we would see what is relaxation. Practice of relaxation is a direct and harmless way of relaxing tension. One cannot hope to enjoy peace, health, or happiness so long as one is under the insidious influence of tension in spite of possessing amenities and luxuries of life. Anybody who, after learning the technique, practices systematic relaxation every day for 30 to 45 minutes would not only remain relaxed and unperturbed in any situation, but greatly enhance the efficiency and quality of his work. For proper appraisal of relaxation, we must know the muscular functions. Muscles contract with the lightning speed when stimuli are applied to the connecting nerve. Skeletal muscles allow us action of movement at all. To understand the action of movement, the muscle may be compared to an electromagnet, and the nerve which stimulates it to action to an electric wire which connects it to the brain. During sleep, very little current circulates in the nerves, and the muscles are almost dematized. Most of the muscles are relaxed and limp except those which are necessary for reasons of security and survival. When one is resting, a weak current flows through the nerve, barely magnetizing the muscles which are in a quiescent state. Whenever one moves or is engaged in some physical activity, the current increases in response to the order from the brain, activating the electromagnets. The muscles contract, the arm bends, or the fist clenches. The number of minute motors set in motion is proportional to the intensity of the effort. All the three states described so far normally occur many times a day. The fourth state, abnormal yet frequent, is the state of hypertension. Perpetually tightened jaws, clenched teeth, frowning brows, and hardened stomach muscles are some of the visible signs of this state. In this state, the electromagnets are over-magnetized by a strong current, leaving muscle groups in a state of permanent contraction, quite often unnecessarily. This results in a colossal waste of nervous and muscular energy because there is a constant leakage of current. The amount of energy thus wasted will depend upon the number of motor muscles activated rather than on their size or strength. Because the nervous impulse needed to contract a small facial muscle is practically the same as a large leg muscle. Thus, the total loss of energy will be proportional to both the number of motor nerves and the strength of current flowing in each of the conductor wires. Every day, millions of old, useless, and dead cells are replaced by young, healthy ones in all our tissues except nerve. Nerve cells are never renewed or replaced. Their number keeps on decreasing as we get older. If we injure them by, for example, overwork in the form of mental stress, they are lost forever, leaving behind irreparable gaps. Now, by conscious and voluntary action, it is possible to switch off the current to the muscles more efficiently than in sleep. Actually, our sleep is seldom refreshing because the unresolved problems of the daytime intrude at night, and we tend to work them out at a deeper level. Thus, our sleep hardly serves its function of relaxing us. In total relaxation, on the other hand, the flow of current may be reduced to almost nil and the output of energy to the minimum. Thus, it is required that we have to practice relaxation at regular basis, at least for 30 minutes or 45 minutes. Now you would see So now we would see eradication of tension is possible through practice of relaxation. Relaxation, if properly done, can relieve tension and fatigue more effectively in half an hour than many hours of indifferent sleep. It is an exercise of the mastery of conscious will over the body by the technique of auto-suggestion. Will, however, is not the tyrant with dictatorial powers cracking the whip, but as gentle and patient as a loving mother with an obstinate child. In other words, relaxation can never be acquired by force, constraint, or violence. In time, relaxation could become a habit, not a mechanical one, but an effortless, conscious way of life. One can remain relaxed under the most exasperating conditions, whatever one may be. One is relaxed, neither tense nor frowning with worry. One can remain relaxed under the most exasperatory condition. One can remain relaxed under the most exasperating conditions, whatever one may be. One is relaxed, neither tense nor frowning with worry. Now we would see colossal healing power of autosuggestion. In ancient times, both man and animal had the instinct to guide them to whatever they needed to keep them healthy. But while the animal retained the faculty, man, with the progress of civilization, gradually lost the instinct. Somebody, however, in the community did retain enough ability to consult his instincts and was usually accepted as the healer. Apart from nature healing, diet, medicinal herb, bone setting, minor surgery, etc., he also used faith healing, in which he made the patient to relax and gave suggestions. Thus, technique of suggestion and autosuggestion is the most ancient psychotherapy known to mankind. Almost every culture has in its own way, while exploring the higher state of consciousness, stumbled upon this technique. Each culture again has tried to explain these states in accordance with its own beliefs. We are told by researchers that all known primitive cultures had various forms of this process as part of their religious activities. Throughout history, a strong element of similarity kept running through all these forms, and the most basic factor had always been relaxation and suggestion, which was used to heal the sick. Evidence of such procedures used in Egypt over 3,000 years ago are found to be very similar to the modern ones. In the Middle Ages, faith healing through touch and prayer became the major role of priests. In modern age, Franz Mesmer, an Austrian doctor who is considered to be the first to give recognition to the importance of systematic suggestion, developed a technique of mass healing which is known as mesmerism, as the technique began to be called spread all over the world and survives to this day in one form or another. James Braid recognized the technique as psychotherapy and renamed it as hypnosis. It is a Greek word especially used for sleep. Later on, earnest and selfless efforts by Jacques Libolt of Nancy School in France developed many applications of the technique that have become some of the foundations of modern psychotherapy. An important theoretical result was that suggestibility was a natural, healthy, and a normal element of everyday behavior. The technique gained great acceptance during world wars and ultimately was given recognition by both British Medical Association as well as the American Medical Association. Today, more and more doctors as well as psychologists use hypnosis in their practices. Autosuggestion or self-hypnosis may be seen as a special kind of hypnosis in which the patient himself controls the process. Some researchers have established that all hypnosis is actually self-hypnosis in some fundamental way. Actually, during the late 1800s, Berlin Institute's renowned brain psychologist Oscar Vogt found that some of his hypnotic subjects were able to put themselves into a state which appeared very similar to deep relaxation and reduced their fatigue, tension, and headaches. Thus, definite clinical value of self-hypnosis was established long ago, but in the early 90s, Emile Coe began to popularize conscious autosuggestion, and the phrase day by day in every day I am getting better became his landmark. It has been established by experimental data that various types of body changes which occur during the process can be measured. Recent studies have shown that beneficial changes occur in blood sugar level, while blood cell count and EEG. Medical, psychological, and psychic literature is full of results of research studies, anecdotal evidence, and stories about many cases which seem to employ one fundamental technique, autosuggestion or self-hypnosis. The successful application of this psychotherapy involves four basic factors: motivation, relaxation, concentration, and visualization. Firstly, one must be properly motivated. Anybody who is keen to achieve something, health, desirable virtue, etc., by the technique of autosuggestion is more likely to get the desired result. Secondly, the success of the exercise of autosuggestion will greatly depend on totally relaxed, tensionless, and emotionless state of the body. It is essential for the practitioner to reach the subconscious portion of his mind, and this is possible only when he is under deep relaxation and without any mental tension. Thirdly, the practitioner must not be distracted. During the exercise, the customary practice of thinking in a rather scattered fashion must be abandoned. Just as the scattered energy of sun can be focused into a single point by a lens to give tremendous power, so also can our mental energy be focused by concentration. Finally, the practitioner must visualize the desired result. Visualization has tremendous importance for achieving the goal. The practitioner, for instance, can visualize his white blood cells, which comprise the immune system, fighting and destroying the infection producing microbes. Autosuggestion is the basic principle of the technique of relaxation. Each part of the body is relaxed in turn by coaxing autosuggestion. Now we would see that posture and exercises which helps in relaxation. We should learn about them too. Here we can see that activity is also essential to healthy life. It aids and improves the blood circulation in the muscles which benefit from movement. Almost every set of muscles has an antagonist. One group relaxing as the opposing group contracts. If a set of muscles is held tight and tense in static contraction, that is without movement for long periods, the circulation is impeded. There will be an accumulation of fatty products, mainly lactic acid, which is normally cleared away by the flow of blood. And it is this that leads to pain, stiffness, and fatigue. Good circulation is therefore necessary to reduce the effect of accumulation of lactic acid in the muscle. Rhythmical exercise by the alternate contraction and relaxation of muscles will improve circulation and mitigate pain and fatigue. Maintenance of correct posture is an important key for keeping the muscles relaxed. Our body is engaged in a constant struggle against gravity, and so habitual wrong postures would produce chronic strain in the muscles. In correct standing position, the head is held high and balanced easily on the neck, neither bent on one side nor jutting forward. The abdomen is held in and the chest is allowed to expand freely. The shoulders should not sag forward and arms hang freely. Good posture is not a stiff military standing to attention, but a relaxed position. Correct sitting position is similar with the spine and neck in a straight line, not stiff but relaxed. Do not sit slumped with your back stooping. Do not stoop or hunch your shoulders as you work. Deviation may result in backaches and even deformities. In driving, your back must be adequately supported. Now we see how silence can also play a great role in achieving relaxation. So silence is a golden gift for us. Would we believe that a public speaker uses a great deal more nervous energy and then a laborer doing a lot of strenuous work with his muscles does? This is because the total amount of nervous energy required is proportional to the number of motor units and not the size of the muscles. Almost equal amount of nervous impulse is necessary to contract a small facial or vocal muscles as a large leg muscles. Thus, a stenotypist who puts a large number of small muscles to work expends much more energy than a blacksmith. An orator uses more than a laborer does. That is why silence is so valuable in conserving and preventing the avoidable waste of energy. What happens when you speak? An idea which forms in your mind must first be instantly translated into words with accurate grammar and syntax. In order to allow you to speak, precise orders must be sent out to the muscles of the vocal cord to contract, relax, and vary the amount of air used. Contractions of the muscles of tongue, lips, and face require thousands of small motor nerves, each expanding its own quota of energy to participate in the act of speaking. In fact, a speech lasting perhaps a couple of hours may completely exhaust an average person. You can prevent this colossal waste of energy only by observing silence. But it is not enough to stop speaking aloud. Total silence really means that the mental process of speech must also be halted, as this can be exhausting as a loud talk in terms of nervous energy. This is because almost every motor unit named except the vocal has to go through the same notions as are necessary for loud speech. Thus, internal silence is essential as the external or vocal. Now we would see the reasons, some more serious reasons for practicing this particular meditation from scientific point of view and from spiritual point of view too. So first of all, we see that how stress affects our physiology and our psychology. So we can see that hypertension, which is created especially by stress, it is a disease with no symptom. Ordinarily, no symptoms are associated with high blood pressure for many years. The insidiousness of hypertension lies in its covert, seemingly harmless nature, which can end in permanent damage to the heart or brain, or at worst, in sudden death. Death of heart or brain tissue occurs directly as well as indirectly through the development of what is commonly known as hardening of the arteries. When hardening of the arteries does develop, the target is usually one of the three vital organs: the heart, the brain, and the kidneys. High blood pressure or hypertension requires the heart to pump blood at higher pressures, thus making the heart work harder and placing an excessive strain on the heart. It is very dangerous because it also increases the rate of development of hardening of the arteries. It is caused by the deposition of the blood clots, fats, and calcium on the inside walls of the arteries, making the normally soft, elastic arteries to become hard, inelastic, and partly or completely blocked. This blockade may lead to dire consequences. The risk of developing atherosclerosis or hardening of the arteries is directly related to the level of blood pressure. The higher your blood pressure, the greater the risk. If the arteries to the heart, called coronaries, are blocked, death of heart cells is inevitable and a heart attack follows. If the arteries to the brain become obstructed, strokes may occur. Thus, continuous high blood pressure or hypertension is the indirect cause of major causes of death, heart attack, and stroke. Causes for 90 to 95% of hypertension, called essential hypertension, are not known. Stress is a generally accepted explanation of the disease, though it is commonly accepted that anger, fear, or anxiety play an important role in causing hypertension. The subject has been inadequately studied by the medical profession. Stressful situations, which can be defined as situations leading to continuous behavioral adjustment, may underlie the development of hypertension which cannot be explained. It is natural to question whether we know how to check the dangerous results that inevitably follow the hypertension. Is there an innate physiological response that is diametrically opposite to the stress mechanism? The answer is yes. We do possess an innate response to counter the effect of a stress response. When activated, this can positively reduce the blood pressure without any drug. The victims of hypertension can be taught to trigger the protective mechanism and lower their blood pressure. The use of the technique of relaxation described in this course, the next chapter, is not only a therapy to lower the blood pressure, but that it has been part of the cultures of men throughout the ages. As I stated earlier, the risk of developing the hardening of the arteries is directly proportional to the level of blood pressure, and anything that lowers blood pressure without injurious side effects is beneficial. Antihypertensive drugs inhibit the activity of the sympathetic nervous system, thus lowering the blood pressure. But the drugs could create phenomena, dangerous side effects, and may create more serious problems. Relaxation is a safe way to lower the blood pressure by the same means as some antihypertensive drugs. Regular exercise of relaxation is of great value since it has none of the pharmacologic side effects present with the drugs. It also substantiates the hypothesis that hypertension in most cases is due to stressful situations that require behavioral adjustment and can be elevated by behavioral means alone. By far the most appealing use of relaxation lies in the preventive aspects. It serves as a natural way to counteract the sympathetic dominance. This means that it should be useful in elevating other emotional upsets where increased sympathetic activity is a factor. For instance, relaxation is useful in elevating various anxiety states and in treating some of the cardiac problems. Another important area of the therapeutic use of the practice of relaxation is prevention of abuse of drugs. alcoholism, and smoking. Marijuana, hashish, LSD, narcotics, what we say, hard liquor, and smoking are some of the dangerous drugs which can shelter the user's health, which can shatter the user's health. Regular practice of relaxation together with meditational exercises of Praksha meditation system lead to giving up of the addiction. In fact, it can provide a natural, non-chemical alternative to fulfill the basic motivations behind drug abuse. The profound feelings of pleasure which accompany meditational practice can be much higher than the high or low of drugs. Now we would see philosophical benefits or reasons for practicing this meditation. Jain Yoga philosophy lays great emphasis on the frequent performance of the exercise of relaxation, which is known as Kayotsarg. It is an essential routine of an ascetic's life. Whenever an ascetic goes a kilometer or more from his place of sojourn, he must perform the exercise on his return. Every time he comes back from an outdoor chore, relaxation is necessary. As soon as he wakes up normally or after undergoing some bad dream, he must perform relaxation. The duration of exercise varies from occasion to occasion and is measured in number of breaths. For example, 25 breaths, 50, 100, 500 or 1000 breaths. Besides being an essential prerequisite for meditation, the exercise of relaxation is performed for the following purpose. So what is the following purpose? And that purpose is self-realization. Necessity and emphasis on the performance of relaxation is laid down because that is the only way one can hope to communicate with one's subconscious self. So long as there is turmoil in the body, that is the muscles and nerves are tense and taut, one cannot reach the subconscious level. Now relaxation can be performed in both directions, from outside to inside and from inside to outside. In other words, it can be from relaxation to self-awareness or from self-awareness to relaxation. In the former, first steps are to stop all voluntary movements, then relax the skeletal muscles and the limbs, trunk and head, then stop speaking, and then discipline the sense organs. Once the total steadiness is achieved, self-awareness and self-realization follow. In the later case, self-awareness precedes the relaxation. The conscious mind is completely withdrawn from external environment and seeks the separate being of the spiritual self. The body is forgotten as soon as even a glimpse of the spiritual self is realized. The self-awareness progresses and finally the body becomes limp, relaxed and cast off automatically. The conventional performance is, however, outside to inside. Cessation of voluntary movements of the body and speech brings about the discipline of sense organs. The normal attraction of sensuous pleasure vanishes or is drastically reduced. The state of total relaxation is achieved and self-awareness. The journey to self-realization commences. For conservation of energy, relaxation is also very important. Why is the practice of this exercise prescribed on several occasions and so often? What is the purpose behind this? One of the reasons is to save colossal waste of nervous energy in muscular action, in speech, and in thought. Frequent relaxation can stop the waste, and the energy which would have been wasted futilely could be utilized purposefully. In particular, it can be used for attaining higher levels of consciousness. Energy saved from being wasted can be accumulated, stored, and utilized to reach higher standards of meditation. Relaxation is a simple means of stopping the unnecessary waste of energy. In total relaxation, every tissue, every cell is prevented from being overloaded and the energy from being wasted. An essential condition of relaxation is slow, deep, and regulated rhythmic breathing. In relaxation, metabolism slows down and need for oxygen is reduced drastically. For attitudinal change also we see the importance of relaxation. Spiritual science prescribes a complete process for development of an integrated personality. Undoubtedly, understandingly, the process is divided into several stages, and the very first stage specifies relaxation. In changes, nasty, old and deep-rooted habits and attitudes. Relaxation is an instrument for transmuting psychological distortions. He who does not practice relaxation cannot hope to effect attitudinal change. Protagonists of hypnotism have also prescribed auto relaxation, which is equivalent to total relaxation, be it attitudinal change or treatment for a disease. Relaxation is the remedy. For mental health, we can say that relaxation is useful in a great sense. For maintaining mental health, peace and balance of mind is essential. Peace of mind is the result of mental purity, and mental purity accrues from stabilizing the body. More stabilized the body, cleaner the mind. The mental uncleanliness is the result of mental excitation, agitation, and turmoil, and unless the body is stabilized, mental turmoil cannot be eliminated. Motionless state of the body is the prerequisite for slow and silent respiration, silence and peace of mind. Unnecessary memories of the past and planning for the future continue to encroach on the present work in hand, and vicious cycle of thoughts keeps the mental equipment in constant turmoil. Prerequisite and precondition for preventing all the mental uncleanliness is relaxation. Once the body is relaxed and made motionless, all the above inflictions vanish, and the more advanced stages of the process of spiritual uplift are easily attainable. For easy solution to problems, the relaxation is also important. Whenever one is faced with a problem, he has to work out a solution. He has to sit down calmly in solitude, relax the body, purge his mind of all other matters, and think and concentrate on the problem in hand. And flash, there comes the solution. Thus, everybody in this world during the course of his life must resort to relaxation from time to time. But for a practitioner of meditation and one who aspires to tread the path of a spiritual life, it is a must. If he does not practice relaxation regularly, he will not make much headway in the direction of spiritual progress. So in this way, in this particular talk, we have tried to understand the scientific base of relaxation, and also the reason why we should practice this relaxation at regular basis from spiritual and as well as from scientific point of view. So with this, I open the floor for question and answers. After the question and answer session, we would practice relaxation for 15 minutes. Thank you very much.